Hey, what's up everyone? It's WereHogDX here, and today we will be doing an Outcome Memories Iceberg. Now, this is the first of many. I've actually never seen one before, so I really decided it would be best if I take the liberty and make a really cool iceberg video for you all. And if you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you think. And if you really love this iceberg and you want so much more of these type of things, then please let me know. And now, let's get into it.
Now, let's enjoy the show.
By the way, that 2011X voice that you just heard was from Dino VOs, so big thank you to them. And this is the Outcome Memories Iceberg. Now, this iceberg was made by Banana Amy Flavor on Reddit, and as well as no_1_3577, suggesting other entries. And of course, I don't know all of the collaborators for this iceberg. I did try contacting the creator of this iceberg, but I couldn't really get much on it. But of course, if the creator sees this, please let me know in the comments down below all of the contributors for credit, and I will pin down that comment. So starting with the first layer, which is the skies. So One Sobi was the original owner and creator of Outcome Memories, who of course was going through a lot over time. A lot of things were happening, which One Sobi did eventually quit Outcome Memories. And of course transferred ownership and everything, but Sobi was a big part for Outcome Memories, being the creator. And there was honestly a lot to everything that we have would not been without the creator, of course. And so yeah, the whole situation with Sobi in the past was what caused Outcome Memories to get cancelled, basically. But of course, in the future, we will be having more stuff for a final batch. But the main cancellation of the game was due to all of the drama, and then Sobi eventually quitting Outcome Memories. So next up, we have the Executioners. So Outcome Memories launched with 2011X and Colossus in the base game. And then later on in version 0.2, we got Tripwire. And then after the game's cancellation, we got Fleetway to continue on version 0.2, because Fleetway was supposed to be in version 0.2 on launch, but a lot of delays due to unbalancing issues and many others. And there were so many more executioners planned for Outcome Memories, such as Lord X, EYX, No More Innocence, Faker, 2017X. And there's so much that if I were to just start talking about them, it really wouldn't end. But there was so much for the executioners, and of course so many of the executioners being revealed, leaked, and many other things happening, where everybody basically knew at one point everything that was supposed to be in the game. So after the game got cancelled, it was of course a lot of backlash, and there were so many characters based on rights that we couldn't get. And of course, Furnace and Starved, being one of the most requested characters in the game, couldn't make it till the end either. Next, we have LMS for Outcome Memories. So basically, LMS is for Last Man Standing. They all have their own individual respective songs, which every character, of course, has a unique moment there where they get a health buff. And of course, it just turns into a lot of different buffs for the characters. And it's just really a concept in the game that has been transferred onto many other projects in the future and many other inspirations. And LMS is a really big thing for Outcome Memories. Now, when you go to version 0.2, so version 0.2 was a big thing for Outcome Memories. It's the current version that we have. So version 0.2 gave Silver and Blaze the Cat, and the survivor that was supposed to be on launch for 0.2 was Shadow, but we got Shadow later on. Of course, based on big fan demand, we have Shadow in public servers. And of course, we had Colossus for version 0.2, we had Tripwire, and Fleetway Supersonic was in plan to be on launch, but of course, due to a lot of balancing issues, only released after the game got cancelled. And yet again, first Fleetway was really buffed, and Fleetway was a really big issue. And then after that, eventually Fleetway did get a lot of nerfs that Fleetway to this point kind of feels a little unplayable. And then after, we did get Angel Island Zone for a map, as well as Mystic Cave, maps that are really loved. But yet again, there are some bugs in the maps, because of course Yet again, it was released and then the game got cancelled. So there wasn't much for quality of life that we were able to get. And then after, for mechanics, we did get water, where you could drown in the water and everything, as well as a bleeding effect, as well as a shocked effect. And of course, based on all these things that were added in the game did really look like it was going to a better direction. And then we had a lot of cosmetics that were added into the game, which there are a lot to even name. But there was so much more planned, like we were supposed to get the Legacy Fleetway Supersonic, as well as Dark Sonic, as well as yourself. That would have been whatever costume you wore for Fleetway Supersonic. It would have been based on whatever your Sonic character is wearing. So if you're wearing the Romeo cosmetic, if you're wearing anything else, then that directly goes onto Fleetway Supersonic. As well as Tricky the Clown, who is supposed to be in version 0.2, as well as Nazo, but we do know that all these things will be added in the final batch. Not so sure about the legacy model for Fleetway Supersonic just yet. Next up, we have Romeo. So Romeo is possibly the most popular name for Outcome Memories and in general the Sonic EXE community in the current day. And Romeo was the lead game manager for Outcome Memories. And when the game got cancelled, of course, then there's a lot of backlash. Everybody didn't like it. And Romeo said that I do not want the game to die. Hope and prosper, everybody. And Romeo being part owner for Modern Furnace and Starved. So Romeo was saying that, yeah, they would be in the game. And Romeo was really pushing for the game to survive. And yet again, a lot of people are a big fan of Romeo. And Romeo did do a lot for Outcome Memories. Next up, we have voice lines for Outcome Memories. So this is one really special thing that really stood out for Outcome Memories back then. The Outcome Memories all had custom voice lines with amazing voice actors. The killers each had their own voice lines. And of course, the survivors had voice lines. And killers really did have some really custom ones, where Fleetway Supersonic did have a lot of very specific ones that were leaked earlier on that everybody were really excited for. And of course, being very custom to each character that they are interacting with. Next up, we have specifically for Fleetway Supersonic. Like said before, Fleetway Supersonic was a really requested character for Outcome Memories to release because version 0.2 Fleetway was supposed to be in. But of course, yet again, because of the delays of the Unbalanced and everything, and when the game was cancelled, probably one of the biggest backlashes was everybody wanted Fleetway Supersonic until they made it to the point where they released Fleetway Supersonic, despite the bugs, despite everything, just to keep the fans happy that everybody did want Fleetway Supersonic. Next up, we have 80 or Less. So 80 or Less would be a special music that would play when you're around 80 seconds or less into the game. And it would kind of be at the last minute, the last couple of moments for the match. And it would be really good music and everybody loves them. And especially for Hill Gym and everything, it's a really big fan favorited 80 or Less theme. And it's very specific on how you have 80 or Less and then you have Last Man Standing themes. So that was one very big unique thing that everybody loved in Outcome Memories. Next up, we have the Disable EXE chants. So there were so many people in Outcome Memories that they don't want to play an EXE. And it's mainly because either if you just struggle with it or you prefer the survivors. So you could disable the EXE chants on the game settings. Next up, we have Tripwire. So like said before, Tripwire was released in version 0.2 of Outcome Memories. But really nobody likes Tripwire because Tripwire is a very annoying character to go against. There's so many traps and there's just a lot that people don't like. And it's really an unfair advantage for Tripwire at some points where if you have to exit and there's only a spring to get up somewhere, then Tripwire could just throw a trap right there and you're bound to get blasted. So that's the main problem, as well as the laser, and there's just so much that people find as unfair. And next up, we have the bugs for Outcome Memories. So Outcome Memories is filled with a lot of bugs, that is for sure, everybody knows that, where when it comes to, as example, rolling down on the floor, sometimes that might not come out, especially for Amy, as well as 2011X's charge just letting go, as well as the Colossus foreskin having a really weird hitbox, where if you're trying to do a Sonic drop dash, then it's just really tough. In general, for Colossus, the hitbox is very weird. And of course, there's some places where Colossus cannot even climb, where it makes sense to climb. And of course, there is some weird bug that I have heard in the past that sometimes you might just spawn in the void. And there's just many bugs in the game. Like you could get stuck in a lot of places, and Mystic Cave is a very buggy stage. And bugs are really something that people don't like from times. Next up, we have Not Perfect. So Not Perfect is one of the most beloved stages in Outcome Memories, and it originated from Sally.exe, but Outcome Memories version was kind of more inspired from Sonic TD. And of course, this is a stage that everyone loves. It just has a lot of bumpers, and you could fall off the stage and you could get fall damage out of that, and you respawn basically at a spawn point. And it was first in private servers for the longest time until they did add in public servers. And of course, for the core reason that you could fall off, and this being the only stage that could happen. Next up, we have Tarvin. So Tarvin was the original shopkeeper for Outcome Memories. And of course, that's where you could get executioners, emotes, cosmetics, and everything. And Tarvin was removed in version 0.2 because the original voice actor left the team. And of course, Tarvin actually does have some background where supposedly, from what we know, Tarvin is from the same world as Suture. And Tarvin is mentioned to be resentful and afraid of Suture due to what the latter has done to his friends and family. This fear has caused Tarvin to hide out of an intense paranoia. This more paranoid side of Tarvin hasn't been explored much. Next up, we have passives. So passives is basically a really special ability that each character could have, such as flying for some characters, such as Sonic's additional health bar, and there are many passives in the game, such as Knuckles being able to wall grab and then glide after. So every character does, almost every character at least, does have some sort of passive in the game. And next up, we have the result screen. So the result screen is one really cool thing in Outcome Memories, that if all of the survivors do not make it, then you have the executioner having their own screen, as well as the fact that everybody does have the result and their grade for how they did in the match. And if a survivor, of course, escapes, then you could see them running out. And of course, if you do have a survivor or two escaping, but you didn't make it, then you could see what happened to your character then. Next up, we have removal of LMSs, which this was a big controversial thing that did happen in the community, where as of late 2025, before the game got canceled, we did have this whole thing of a couple of the creators for the musics and everything. They kind of quit, and there was a lot of harassment. And just, of course, there was a lot of controversy that I don't want to get too much into. But because of that, some of the themes were removed, and it did cause a lot of controversy. Next up, we have private server exclusive stuff, which specifically in private servers, you have access to things that aren't in the base game for public servers, such as you have Supersonic, Sans, Neo Metal Sonic, Baldi, Frisk, Clover, and Remy, which these are very interesting stuff that you have. And when it comes to stuff that were supposed to be in private servers, but devs do have access to them, that is Modern Sonic, Sonic Has Passed, and Meow. And when it comes to the executioners, you have version 1, Kara, Bear 5, Steve Outcome, Sonic O, Furnace, and Starved, which Starved actually isn't in, but we do have Legacy and Modern Furnace. As well as we have, for when it comes to dev exclusive and of course just in general cancel, that aren't even in private servers anymore, or they were basically never in from what I assume, was Evil Sans and Lil Jort. And when it comes to the maps, we have Testing Place, New Home, Waterfall, Baldi Schoolhouse, Glass Bridge, Pizzeria, Construct, Totally Perfect, TD Hills, TDYCR, and Canada, Toronto Test Place, Sobi EXE, which is pretty funny because I'm from Toronto. But yeah, that's what we have so far for the private server stuff that are in Outcome Memories. That is everything that we have for Tier 1, the Skies. And now let's go on to Tier 2, the Surface, which is starting with Sonic.exe, The Disaster. So Sonic.exe, The Disaster was the original big Sonic.exe ASIM horror game on Roblox. Of course, it had a lot of traction, it had a lot of love. There's so many people playing this game until eventually, due to controversial stuff, The game was kind of falling apart a little bit here and there, but it wasn't that bad up until we did get the full cancellation because of a cease and desist that the owner did get for the game, which the disaster is actually big inspiration for Outcome Memories. So without the disaster, we would have never had Outcome Memories. Next up, we have Altez. So Altez was basically a play tester and everything when it came to Outcome Memories. And there was a lot of drama when it came to the whole Altez situation. It was kind of why Outcome Memories even kind of got canceled in the first place. It was basically the whole core of everything. That was basically the start of everything. And because of all that, Altez has basically went radio silent. We haven't heard from Altez after. But that was basically the whole reason why Outcome Memories even got canceled. Next up, we have Sonic.omt. So Sonic.omt was an upcoming executioner for Outcome Memories, which several months ago was canceled due to some reasons that I don't want to say. But long story short, it was due to the creator and bare controversy that even happened. So then because of that, OMT was officially canceled, and we do not really see OMT in any of these games anymore. Next up, we have Johnny Gioli. So Johnny Gioli is the lead singer for Crush 40, who has made so many of the most memorable songs in history for gaming and Sonic. And of course, Johnny Gioli is the best gaming singer I've ever heard. Actually, that is the music that I do have as my intro, Supersonic Hero, which Johnny Gioli did make that specially for Supersonic's LMS and Outcome Memories, as well as Johnny Gioli sang Sonic's Last Man Standing in Outcome Memories. Next up is references, and I will say this in the ways such as for cosmetics, where if you have Sonic's wizard hat, that is a reference to Pace, as well as the fact that there are many others, such as when you have emotes, you have Knuckles having an emote that does reference Piccolo from Dragon Ball. And of course, if I were to get into all of the references in the game, like really the video wouldn't end. But yeah, there's a lot of references that are hidden in Outcome Memories. Next up, we have Terror Radius. So every executioner has a Terror Radius that if you go near any of the executioners as a survivor, the closer you get, the more you would hear a music, knowing that, yeah, the executioner is close. And for Metasonic does have a beeping that you do hear it going faster when you're closer to an EXE. Next up, we have Cream's iframes, which of course means invincibility frames. And it was a big complaint in Outcome Memories in the past, where when Cream could heal others, then Cream gets invincibility frames. And it was like a really big complaint. And that's why a lot of people also don't like Cream as a survivor. Next up, we have Furnace and Starved. And yet again, Furnace and Starved were cancelled characters for Outcome Memories that were supposed to be in the game eventually. And it was like just a big thing where everybody wanted Furnace and Starved so bad. There's supposed to be a duo killer where they could really work good together. And it was really just a thing where when the game got cancelled, Romeo did say that we would get Furnace and Starved. But that did not happen because the game's cancellation was inevitable and we couldn't get anything else from the game much as in executioners. And the best thing though that we did get was we did get Legacy and Modern Furnace in private servers of Outcome Memories. Next up, we have Shadow's status chamber, which was in the YCR. So Shadow was in a chamber being powered by the Emerald, where you could see in YCR, and over time it's basically progress on seeing when Shadow will be released, literally. And of course that we didn't get to see the end of that, but when Shadow was released, we still did have Shadow in the chamber for the YCR. Next up, we have EXEs with health bars, which of course it was a big request. People want EXEs to get health bars, or possibly in the end when there's one man standing, we would have health bars for the EXEs. But that didn't happen. But the most that we did get for EXEs with the health bar is Fleetway Supersonic, that once the health bar is down to 0, then Fleetway Supersonic does get taken out and the match does end very quickly. Next up, we have absurd priced cosmetics, which this is a very big issue in Outcome Memories, because the cosmetics are usually like they have a lot of complaints that they're overpriced, and some characters just have some cosmetics that shouldn't make sense why they're so overpriced. Like if you want everything for Sonic, then it would cost 90,547 rings. Red Sonic is 50,000 rings, which is honestly insane. Like, I mean, he's just red really, and it's 50,000 rings. 5,000 for Sonic's cape, as well as 3,000 each for Mel Sonic's complete suits, which arguably you could say that this is way too much, of course, especially 50,000. Granted that the most expensive executioner you could get is Colossus, and he's around like just 2,000 rings. Next up, we have the unofficial OM Wiki. And this is, of course, the Wikipedia page for Outcome Memories. This is actually where I get most of my information as well. And in all of this, you could see everything for Outcome Memories, everything that's in the game, everything that was scrapped. Literally everything for Outcome Memories you could find inside of the unofficial Outcome Memories wiki. Next up, we have the removal for 2017X and EXE, which this was a big controversy because people really wanted these two characters. But yet again, these two characters had a very, very similar moveset. For basically when you stun them enough, they turn into their beast forms. And it was something that was just way too similar. And they felt like, yeah, it's just going to be very, very similar for both the characters, for moveset and concept. So ultimately, they removed the characters and they were scrapped. Next up, we have the FNAF Cam setup, which is actually in YCR, that if you check one of the monitors, you could see this one monitor that specifically has the FNAF cams from Five Nights at Freddy's 1. And specifically, I don't know who's on the photo, but you can see Freddy there. And it's a really cool Easter egg in the game. Next up, we have the Astro Nova cheating scandal, which, long story short, there was a whole scandal going on. And I don't really want to talk about it because it gets really personal. So I'm not going to talk about it, but it's just here. And next up, we have the Kata raid, which yet again, it's another controversial drama related to the Outcome Memories server getting a raid. And of course, I don't want to talk about it, of course, yet again, because when it comes to something that possibly, you know, if it hurts someone or anything, I don't want to get too deep into it. Next up, we have dev exclusives, which is of course the exclusive stuff that the devs have in Outcome Memories. Like I said before, Marn Sonic, Sonic Has Passed, Meowl, and as well as Lil Jort, Evil Sans. Basically those things being dev exclusive in Outcome Memories. So we just finished Tier 2, The Surface, and now we have Tier 3, which is Semi-Deep Waters, starting with Special Game Modes. So Special Game Modes was a cancelled thing that was supposed to be in Outcome Memories, but basically you have Double Trouble, which would have been if you have 2 executioners instead of 1, as well as Protect the Player, which was supposed to be released in the next update, which basically, long story short, all we know is that you protect a specific survivor. And Juggernaut mode being every player in the server turns into an executioner, and there's 1 survivor, and it is known that Neo Mel Sonic and possibly Super Sonic should have been the power buffed characters that you would be able to play. Next up, we have Lil Jort Family. So Lil Jort was a character that was supposed to be in Outcome Memories, and it was a very interesting character that was also known as Hungry Sonic, specifically because this character is a Sonic-based clone of the Roblox game Hungry Pig. And from what we do know for the family that Lil Jort has, so Lil Jort is supposed to have a baby cousin named Lil Jort's baby cousin, really. And Lil Jort having a grandpa being Grandpa Jort. And yet again, Lil Jort and the other Jorts are King's quote-unquote harbingers. Next up is King. So King was formerly known as the Outcome King, who is a character owned by Ross, who is the sole ruler of an April Fool's joke game Sonic.exe Income Memories. And he's also a dev-exclusive executioner for Outcome Memories. And there's a big story behind King where basically, long story short, King identifies his true name as Omnius, god of creation, and claims to have been the caretaker of an old Earth before being placed weakened into his current form via unknown means. During his time as a god, Omnius came to believe humanity was full of nothing but sin, and states that the quote-unquote vessels of the player characters in Outcome Memories are distilled manifestations of those sins, whom he considers as plebeians and scum. So basically, long story short, the Outcome King or King is a very, very big character in the Outcome Memories verse, where we couldn't get much, of course, because the game got cancelled. But this was supposed to be a really big character later on, because he's basically the ruler of Outcome Memories. Next up, we have Wide Botnik. Now, Wide Botnik was this one, I assume, dev-exclusive character in Outcome Memories, who is just a funnier, more funny voice line version of Dr. Robotnik, who's just bigger and just, looks really funny. And that's basically what he is. He plays the exact same as Robotnik. And if you search up, then you would see a couple of months ago, back in version 1, a lot of people would talk about Dr. Widebotnik. But there's really not much talk because I assume Widebotnik is only on dev access. Next up, we have anti-cheat system for Outcome Memories. So Outcome Memories does have an anti-cheat system, but really it doesn't work. Like you find a lot of cheaters, you find a lot of hackers. You could see characters that have some characters that would be going way too fast than they're supposed to, or you could have multiple characters that are the same in one server. And basically the anti-cheat system always has complaints because it just usually doesn't work. Now, when it comes to the next one, that is unnamed 2011X emote. And really, there's no other emote for 2011X that we don't know a name or music for, other than this one that's just taunt. And you see classic 2011X doing a taunt that Sonic EXE would usually do. And it's just called taunt. There's no music or anything else. That's just what we know, the taunt. And basically, this could be the unnamed 2011X emote, that it's just taunt. Next up, we have Looney. So Looney is technically Rhea, which is a nickname and formerly known as Looney or Feels X. So basically, Looney is a cancelled upcoming executioner in Outcome Memories, who is supposed to be in a form of Feels the Rabbit instead of Sonic. Created by Nover. So basically, long story short, what we do know is that this character is very mysterious. There's not much that we know. But Rhea is a very mysterious character with dubious origins and even lesser known motives. But Nover's tweets describes a moment where Rhea awoke in a so-called cycle of remembrance, somewhere described as a void-like place with chains and conveyor belts, carrying clones of Feels the Rabbit, in endless directions being numerously duplicated. The rest of Rhea's lore has currently not been revealed. More will likely be revealed maybe in the future, who knows, but the fact that the game's cancelled, I can't really hope on it. Next up is Amy's iframe for her hammer. So long story short, Amy can take damage while using the hammer attack, and she used to originally be invincible when using it earlier in the game, but now that isn't the case, and it's basically a big con, it's a big complaint that everybody has. Similar to how if you have that Sonic does have iframes in the drop dash, but Amy doesn't have iframes when using the hammer. Next up, we have Steve Outcome. So Steve Outcome is a private server exclusive character who is an executioner, and basically, long story short, Steve Outcome is a parody of Mist Crimson X, and it's basically just kind of slightly of a joke character, but you could play him in private servers. He has attack, sabotage, rush out, counter cause I'm evil, and lazy indicator. And yet again, there was a lot when it came to this character. Like recently, people wanted this character to get a little bit of a rework and get turned into Crimson X and be available on public servers. But everybody has confirmed that this character would be really hard to do so, considering it's a very unfinished and kind of like a gag character for private servers, so they can't do that. Next up is Tripwire 1% Backflip. So Tripwire has a 1% chance of hitting a backflip when you jump, and like you can see on this clip over here, this is what happens if you get the chance to do a backflip with Tripwire. And yet again, it is a 1% chance. I actually didn't know that because it did happen to me once, but now we know it's a 1% chance. Uncome Memories. So Sonic.exe Uncome Memories was a joke game created by Diaguris22 and released on September 6, 2025. The game is very low poly and simple. When Outcome Memories version 0.2 released, The game was linked as a way to keep the fans occupied while Outcome Memories was under maintenance. And long story short, from the gameplay that you could see, it was quite an interesting experience. And basically, Outcome Memories is just a really meme-filled parody, very low quality, like it was made in a day type of game. And it's really cool. Definitely, it's a really big part for the Outcome Memories community, whether some people remember it or no. But yet again, it's a really funny thing that is in the community. Next up, we have Colossus Foreskin Hitbox Bug. Now, this is what it says it is, where when you have Forced Colossus equipped, then the hitbox has this bug where a lot of things cannot land. Sonic's drop dash, Mel Sonic's move where he grabs them, and many other moves just usually do not land. But the hardest experience that you will have is if you're playing Sonic, because the drop dash will not land. Next up, we have the Shadow from Sonic and the Black Sun. So this was supposed to be an executioner in Outcome Memories, which is basically just an alternate universe concept based around Pace the Hedgehog. And basically, long story short, this character is just a hostile, malicious being who is an entity based around complete negative energy from the Chaos Emeralds through some unknown means, and wishing to control the land and cover it in darkness. He proves to be far more dangerous of a threat than anything this world was prepared to handle. But this character was supposed to be an upcoming executioner that did have a lot worked on. Next up, we have lore. So the lore for the game, long story short, is Outcome Memories is placed in a place where it's like an unknown void, similar to the one where X came from, is a hellish purgatory, holding captive both the executioners and survivors in endless timelines with different outcomes. Most of the executioners do not want to leave, as they enjoy a cat and mouse chase, while the survivors do everything that they can to both survive and escape. Any survivors who happen to die are sent to another timeline inside the purgatory, repeating the cycle all over again. Upon entry of the void, the participants are either buffed or debuffed, putting each other on an equal level of power, which is why characters such as Starved are more powerful. So, long story short, that is how Outcome Memories is. And quite a bit of the characters have been pulled out from different versions, like the classic versions, or for Silver, it'd be a little before Sonic 06, and that's basically how it works. And when you have some executioners, like we do know Lord X willingly broke into the void to join the whole cat and mouse chase, and that's basically the story of Outcome Memories, which we never got an end for, of course. Now we have finished Tier 3 Semi-Deep Waters, now let's make it to Tier 4 Deep Abyss. 2017X appearance in Test Map. So 2017X can be seen in Test Map when the round ends if an executioner falls in the map. The model of 2017X in Test Map appears in another game created by Skittle. Sonic originally deconfirmed. So in Outcome Memories, Sonic was originally deconfirmed to be a survivor, but of course changes happened in the game's development, which they decide to add Sonic, and yet again originally Sonic was set to release after Outcome Memories version 0.1, but then they just made Sonic playable the day on release. Minions. So minions were supposed to be a specific mechanic in the game where when a survivor does get taken out, they would come back as zombified, diseased versions of the survivors, which was based off of Sonic the Disaster, which they would act for servants for the executioner. And this was, for what we knew, it was supposed to be for Crimson X specifically, but even Colossus would have access to them, and this was a plan that they had. Sonic Has Passed. So Sonic Has Passed was a developer-exclusive survivor in Outcome Memories, coded as free time exercise by Luagai. He's a 2-in-1 Juggernaut-like survivor consisting of NES variations of Sonic and Eggman that switches into quote-unquote glitched executioner variants post-death. And this was, long story short, something that, of course, like I said before, Luagai did make this kind of like as an exercise to practice skills and everything. But this was in developer private servers for Outcome Memories. And there isn't much that people know about this, but what we do know is, of course, this is a duo character between Sonic and Eggman that could turn into glitched executioner variants post-death, similar to the zombie minion mechanic. Metal Sonic and 2011X clashing. So clashing was supposed to be a mechanic in the game where if both characters use a specific move in the round, it would be basically a small mini game. And it would be if you have 2011X and Melasonic charging at each other, and it would be one really cool clash that you would get. And basically, it would be you have to press the inputs faster compared to the Executioner or the other way around to win the clash. And here's actually a quick voice line that 2011X has when clashing with Melasonic.
Even if you best me here, your head will be piped regardless.
Of course, that was awesome. And next up, we have Income Memories. So Sonic.exe Income Memories, also known as Survive Area 51 Sonic.exe, is an April Fool's joke game created by Sobi and released on April Fool's. Yet again, another low poly joke game that was made, but it is actually quite important to King's lore, the Outcome King's lore. But when Outcome Memories version 0.1 released, the game got privated. However, as of right now, the game is public, as you could see, but of course couldn't really find any players. And it's a really cool, interesting joke. And yet again, for these joke games, they're still up if you guys want to check them out. Midnight. So Midnight was supposed to be an upcoming Executioner in Outcome Memories, otherwise known as Midnight the Unknown. So Midnight the Unknown is a well-known temporal assassin, is a Mobian from an alternate timeline in a future where Sonic was killed, resulting in the Robotnik Empire taking over the power led by descendant of Eggman, Tyrannos Robotnik, creating a global dictatorial government known as New Robopolis. So Midnight is a fugitive rebel from the government. After an extermination of his species, he started wandering the shadows, constantly hunting as a top priority for the government. After his escape, Midnight started working as an assassin, well known for his technology that allows him to travel through the timelines to eliminate his targets in the past, all for a certain price. Now we have finished Tier 4, Deep Abyss. Now let's get on to Tier 5, The Void, starting with Act 9 map. So Act 9 was supposed to be, like long story short, an upcoming map for Outcome Memories planned for a future update. It originates from Sally.exe creepypasta, but long story short, from what we do know is that we didn't really get anything for this map after, other than just a few looks. But yeah, that's basically everything that we had for Act 9. Next up, we have prototype content. So prototype content for Outcome Memories was the original version 0.0 of Outcome Memories, how the game was. And you could see based on this clip over here, how it basically is the prototype testing of Outcome Memories, which was posted by Lewis FTC on YouTube. Big credits to them. You could check out the full video if you want. But yeah, that's basically how Outcome Memories prototype stuff were. Fool's House map. So Fool's House was a cancelled map in Outcome Memories. It would have served as an interactive tutorial for both sides of character gameplay, such as for Executioner and Survivor. So Fool's House is a horror-fled version of Sonic Schoolhouse, a computer game which taught you math and everything. You all already know how it was. But long story short, this was kind of supposed to be a way of a tutorial for people that want to learn how to play an Executioner or character in Outcome Memories. Next up, we have Sank.Lank, or I really do assume this just means Sonk.Rom, who was a survivor in Outcome Memories, who's often portrayed as a childlike entity doing whatever he feels is fun. He's typically seen hanging around with his friends, and he rarely carries a Glock with him also, so keep that one in mind. But it's like a chibi simplified version of Sonic, yet again like another gag character. So the character was just a really big gag character that not much people even know about. Next up, we have Slash, replacing the A with a 4. So Slash is a known character who was scrapped and deconfirmed in Outcome Memories, who was supposed to be an Executioner, who is currently owned by Coffee Mood and was created by Marstar Bro. So long story short, this character does resemble Sonic, having a lot of similar visual traits as him, and having like really fleshy veins and everything. But this character, we really don't know much about. All we know is that this was a character that was being planned for Outcome Memories. But that's basically everything that we know for Slash. Next up, we have Scrapped Universal Parry ability. So the Scrapped Universal Parry ability, all characters were supposed to have. This is from Discord by Zilere, who said that all characters would have a parry ability. This parry is much weaker as it won't stun the EXE but gives you infinite frames for 0.2 seconds. Big characters will use their arms to shove the attack back. Smaller characters will duck under the attack. For EXEs, they can parry melee attacks that can stun them, and range attacks cannot be parried. Now this would have been really cool if every character had them, like if you had it with Knuckles, then it looked really cool where you just kind of parry, you dodge, and then you punch them. And especially if you're in last man standing, then if you have a really clutch moment where you're the last man, presumably if you're Sonic or someone, you hit a few parries, you run around, you drop dash, and then it would be a really cool mechanic, but I could see why they did remove it and didn't even add it to begin with, was because of the fact that if you had parries, then it would have been everybody would have been abusing it, then of course getting eliminated would have been much harder. Now that's it for the Voids tier. Now when you come to the last tier, you get
everything will have ceaseless story. At some point there has an end to it. That includes something you dearly love.
And yeah, that was the Void, the last tier by Allfather. And I actually did just voice Allfather. I tried giving it a go and I think it was pretty cool. But yeah, thank you all so much. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down below what do you think of this video. And I really tried putting as much as I could for this, but at the same time make it enjoyable for all of you. If there's something that I felt like everybody already knew, then I kind of tried skimming through it. Yet again, big credits to the creator of this Iceberg, Banana Amy Flavor, as well as no_1_3577, and all the contributors. So thank you all so much. And until next time, everybody, see y'all.